not speaking, please mute your mic, and thank you.
Okay, so we're going to start with an introduction about play. So all of the seniors attending this seminar today have been active members of Play Foundation during their high school career. Play, which stands for Promoting Leadership and Inspiring Youth, is a nonprofit organization founded in 2014 with the goal of giving students the opportunity to build leadership skills while bettering the community. It is a 501c3 tax-exempt association, and in these past 6 years, the organization has steadily grown in size as new members join. With more people, we have also been able to host more events for community members. Some of our most prominent annual events include the Play Gala, Thanksgiving dinner, and musical showcase. The Play Gala is held at the start of each school year where all members enjoy dinner while talking about past accomplishments and future goals for the organization. The Thanksgiving dinner is a tradition where members hand out food to those in need in spirit of the holiday season. And near the end of the school year, the music subgroup holds the musical showcase where the band, orchestra, and choir perform pieces they practiced throughout the year. All of the money raised from these events goes towards our community, such as PPIE, to improve local education programs. Each student who dedicates their own free time towards helping the community and serving others are given volunteer hours. In contrast to other volunteer organizations, Play is a certified organization where the hours are applicable to the President's Volunteer Service Award. This prestigious award is given to the most committed students who offer their time and hard work to volunteering. For teens under 15 years old, they're eligible for the gold medal with 100 hours of volunteering, and for older students, it requires 250 hours. These hours can be earned through multiple types of events. Other than the annual performances held by all members, Play is also split into multiple subgroups. Each subgroup focuses on different activities that give back to the community. Examples include Play Music, Mobile Library, Engineering, Math, Coding, Bakeology, and Speech and Debate. Each subgroup holds specific events dedicated to community members. For instance, Play Music performs for local senior centers annually, while Engineering and Debate hold camps where younger students can learn. If you have any questions about joining subgroups, please contact us later. And now let's introduce our seniors.
Hello, my bad. I had my screen off this entire time. But hello, my name is Carolyn, and um, I was a senior at Amador Valley High School, and I'll be heading to Northwestern for a double major in anthropology and economics. And everything I'm about to say, I'm just going to say that everything is based off of my experience. However, like my class of 2020 graduates, they will mirror much of the senior class's experiences, I feel. So I was very lucky to get into my early decision college, Northwestern. And because early decision was something kind of confusing to me at the time, I just want to explain it really quickly. It's a binding single choice early college application. So if you apply ED one place, if you happen to get admitted, you have to go there and you can only apply to one school ED. And although I'm very grateful to have gotten to early, I also did not have the chance to explore many options like some of my peers have. So one tip for if you're looking at ED is to really do your research. Look at programs, tracks, clubs, financial aid at your candidate. So for example, for me, I really loved Northwestern's open, beautiful campus. I really loved how flexible and available their studies were, and I love how close to Chicago it was. So that is ending up factoring into my early decision choice. And if we talk about high school, if I backtrack a little bit, first thing, standardized testing. So it's a little bit strange this year. A lot of schools canceled their requirements because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But a general rule of thumb for standardized testing, I feel, is just leave big windows before and after you test. For example, I took my SAT this summer, right after the summer before my junior year, so August 2018. And if I needed to retake, I would have had so many opportunities to retake it before applying to college. But I would suggest registering several months in advance so that you, one, get a good testing location, and two, you can have time to study and stuff. And the best way to self-study is just online tests, I feel. Like I took a test every week for the summer, and I ended up taking 10 total, not only for the SAT, but also PSAT to practice. And a lot of people are selling secondhand prep books online, like on Instagram stories or Facebook. So you can get like required books and workbooks for like $5 each maximum. However, I want to emphasize that high school, I feel, wasn't for me just a spiral of preparation and perfect study habits because I was not a perfect student. And when you join extracurriculars, not only can some of them be relevant to your major, but you also want to try to do things that really make you shine, really make you relaxed or passionate about. And for example, I was co-president of the art club at Amador Valley. I was involved for all 4 years, and although I'm not majoring in art or doing anything graphic design related, it's still a fun hobby. It's helped me improve my leadership skills, helped me improve my organizational skills. And even if you're not an officer in a club, you can still do a lot of things. Like one of the biggest initiatives I led was made when I was just treasurer. So join a club, make a club, and really try to be happy about it. And while you're building your college resume, I found that it's really important to have a focus on what you are writing about. For example, my application mostly focused on French, music and the arts, and volunteering. So I tried to evenly distribute that and prioritize that through my application. And it's okay if you make little mistakes in your application. Like on my Northwestern application, my Common App essay was a little bit weird. I left off a tiny bit of information on some stuff. But in the end, what I really want to emphasize is try to have fun in high school, connect with your teachers so you can get unique recommendation letters, and because teachers are nice people too. And just take little risks throughout the process, I feel. Do something unconventional, like put puns in your essays, just something that will make it a little bit easier as you apply. And just remember that college is something that you make your own experience with. And no matter what college you go to, no matter what colleges you get into, work on your happiness and creative voice and long-term skills, because overall that is much more long-term than any college plan that you plan on. Thanks everyone for listening.
Okay, looks like I'll be going next. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Wren, and I graduated from Foothill High School, and I will be attending Johns Hopkins University. I'll be talking about the recruiting because I went to Hopkins for the swim team. So generally, there's 3 divisions for athletics in college. Well, they're called Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3. So if generally speaking, Division 1 and 2 are for people who want to focus more on athletics, and Division 3 for people who maybe are not as good at their sport or maybe want to focus more on academics. Now, that's not to say that there aren't any good schools academically in Division 1 or Division 2, or that there's no teams that are highly ranked in Division 3, because like in Division 1, there's all the Ivies are Division 1, and there's also like Stanford, who's also Division 1. But then also in Division 3, for example, Johns Hopkins, our swim team consistently competes with Division I schools. And so that's just something to think about when you're thinking about what colleges you want to look at to compete for your sport. Recently, there was a rule that they changed it so that recruiting could begin as early as your sophomore year. I would highly recommend figuring out, getting a list of colleges that you think you might want to go to, and getting a list of that and being prepared to contact their coaches as soon as you can. For me personally, I actually started the recruiting process quite late, and that actually ended up hurting me because it usually, the earlier you contact it, the coaches feel that you have more interest. And it's okay if you don't feel that you're not at the level to compete at that school yet. The most important thing is to show interest early. Let's see what else. So with athletics, there's a lot of factors that could determine whether or not you can get into a school for athletics. And because of that, I would recommend having a secondary plan in case you won't be able to go with athletics. For me, I personally, I made sure that my academics were equal to or better than my peers. And also, I would also do other extracurriculars such as volunteering and piano. There's also, it's also, the thing is, the reason I chose to do athletic recruiting also is because the application process, once you figure out which school you want to go to, is a lot simpler. So basically, once you and the coach at the school have agreed that you want to go to that school for the sport, and two, the coach agrees that you are good enough to be a member of the team, then basically what it's called is a verbal commitment. And that means that you're saying that you will apply to the school, and if you get in, you will go. And what the coaches are saying is that if you apply, you will get in. So you have to be careful which schools though, because in Division III, a lot of schools don't allow you to have a commitment. For example, MIT, Caltech, and Carnegie Mellon, they all require, they don't allow you to have a commitment because they can't guarantee you a spot. So, but the thing is, if you can get a spot, then application is a lot simpler. You always, generally you'll apply early decision or early action. And well, I would still recommend doing your best on the application, but it's just not as important. Okay, thank you for listening.
Geez, that's one pretty old photograph. Anyways, hello, if you can hear me. My name is Derek Guo. I am a graduate at Doherty Valley High School, and I will be attending Northwestern University at the fall. So, my fellow Northwestern undergraduates already talked a lot about the general stuff of the application process, as well as other stuff of standardized testing. And I'll be focusing more on some like motivation factors to help you get those extracurriculars in the first place. So if you asked me how to get into a good college, my first advice would be to have a theme. While admissions officers do want people who are well-rounded, colleges are looking for those well-rounded students with a common theme in their application. And some people call it something that stands out. Now, how you express that theme can be as diverse as you like. It's not as simple as just doing math if you want to do math. So when should you choose a theme? Now, if you're a parent, I would caution away from helicopter parenting all your children's activities because finding a theme isn't exactly easy. It's really better, especially if you're a student or a kid, to try and explore and find new areas or interests and see what sticks, see what you're really good at. And it's a process, as some say, called searching for your special talent. Eventually, by high school, you may find that thing you really want to do. And then you can focus on the activities for that theme to have something to present for your application. So when I applied, I went under the theme of creativity. Creativity and problem solving, or finding new and unfamiliar ways to solve problems like in math, creativity in teaching methods, searching for the right choice of words to help someone learn, and of course, creativity in the arts, expressing myself through writing and music. The extracurriculars I did exemplified those facets of creativity. In maths, I spent a lot of time in competition, winning contests on my own merit and with the help of various teams. In teaching, I did both volunteer and paid work, helping individual students and entire classes to break down problems and understanding their concepts. In the arts, well, I think that's self-explanatory, and I did gain some recognition through the Scholastic Art of Writing Awards, as shown here, and in my music club, which I run as a vice president. When I wrote my essays, I talked about how my creativity and ingenuity in thought helped me succeed in all three aspects that I worked with. And I showed the admissions officers the fruits of my labor in the college activity sections, using these words and positions that relate to my theme. Of course, my application was a little bit more about me since there's stuff like volunteering or general words like APs. But in the big picture, I believe that having a specific theme, something to remember you by, will carry your application. Thank you.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Jason. I am also be going to Hopkins, joining Alex. I am a public health major. So since everyone else already talked a lot about motivation, tests, and all that, I think I'm going to talk a little bit about summer because I feel like a lot of people are confused or unsure about what they should fill their summer time with. Especially during COVID and everything. So generally speaking, your summertime should be used, well, first, right, summertime should be a break for you. Like you should be doing something you enjoy. And you definitely should be doing something that explores your extracurriculars or continues onto some of your extracurriculars. So for example, in my personal experience, every summer I do fencing. So every summer, in the summer, I would compete on nationals. So every summer so freshman, sophomore, and junior summer, I always every year around June, I would fill my time doing competitions. And you want to be doing something that you're committed to. So instead of doing, for example, 4 or 5 different sports, but you don't really spend a lot of time on any of them, you should be instead doing something that you truly enjoy or that you find like you truly enjoy. And you do that for a long time to show that you're committed to doing something, that you're committed to improving yourself at that specific thing. And also on a side of athletics, so for example, you can also in the summer do a lot of, if you're in the STEM field, a lot of research or internships that you should look into before summer because they do get filled up pretty fast. And usually a lot of my friends would go to summer programs. So speaking of summer programs, recently summer programs have been really, really competitive. Like common ones I think a lot of people know are like Cosmos or SSP or any Rise programs. So In my personal experience, I actually got rejected to all the summer programs that I applied to in junior year, which was a pretty devastating blow to me because to me it felt like a preliminary, like a limit, like I got cut off already from what I want to do in the future. So I got rejected to Boston Rise, SSP, and Cosmos at I think it was Irvine for bio, but I got rejected to all of those. And in that junior summer, I tried to think of so many ways to fill my summer with something that I should do to show that I'm trying to still be academically active and in the summer and trying to actively learn. So in the summer, I did multiple things. In the summer, first, I found a job. I worked at Taco Bell for solid, I think 2.5 months at the drive-thru. And honestly, that was like kind of a personal growth kind of job. It really kind of showed me that, there's lots of other people that are very, very have different lives than you. And that helped me write my essays and helped me kind of like a personal growth essay. And add on to that, before summer, I also contacted a couple of companies trying to land an internship. So I did finally, luckily, actually landed an internship at SciTech, which is a cytometry, like a biotech kind of company, where I kind of like did a little bit of like internship, helping out with little things. It's not even like really research with professors kind of type. It's more of just I'm like helping out at your lab, like seeing what you guys do and all that. It's more of just helping you explore what you want to do, helping you know what subjects interest you, and helping you eliminate also like broader subjects. So for example, right, if I want to apply for a major in biology, there's no way I'm gonna like every single aspect of biology. Like there's no way I'm gonna like classifying animals versus like looking at tiny microscopic things. So use your summertime to explore your interests, and mainly also to, if you can't narrow down something, like try to find things that you don't like and eliminate those things. So overall, like what I'm trying to say is that in your summer, you should always fill it with something, like anything. It doesn't have to be like, I'm going to a summer program where I'm doing research with this person. Like it has to be, just fill it with something that is meaningful to you, that you think will help yourself personally grow, and make sure that you also have fun doing it. So thank you.
Hi, my name's Loria, and I'll be attending the University of Chicago in the fall, where I'll be studying biology, and I recently graduated from DVHS. So yeah, I applied to University of Chicago ED, and right now I want to talk about like how to balance your high school schedule and make sure you can like have enough time for schoolwork and extracurricular activities, but also like try and get enough sleep as well. So I know Derek touched on this, but he said it was really important to have like a narrative or like a theme for your application, so you focus a lot of your activities on this one aspect, but also to have a bunch of other extracurricular activities that you enjoy and you have fun doing. And so I think like in the beginning of high school, especially like for clubs, you should sign up for as many as you want that interest you, and then you can attend those meetings, and then later on you pick the clubs that you like the most and that fit your schedule. And also for classes, like although you don't really like know what you want to do in the beginning, you just see like you just take all the classes and you see like which ones interest you the most, and then later on you can pick like which activities you want to do. And so with that being said, like having all these activities makes it really hard to balance your time. And I know like throughout high school, I definitely had an issue with time management and also getting enough sleep. And I really want to emphasize like the importance of getting enough sleep, because like if you don't, it becomes so much more difficult to find like motivation to do all the activities, and you can't focus as well, and you just like feel stressed all the time as well, and then it causes you to procrastinate more. So it becomes this like endless cycle where you just like don't get enough sleep, and then everything else is worse. So then you really need to try and balance your time so that you have enough time to finish your homework and have enough time to like
take care of yourself as well, and like your health and mental health. So one way to do that is like, it's important to have all these activities, but you should prioritize only the most important ones. So for example, I did speech and debate like throughout middle school and through 3 years of high school, but in senior year I just like had no more time. Like it took up too much time on the weekends and after school, so I ended up just dropping that. And like it's okay to like really like take stock of what you have it like what you want to do versus like what you have time to do. So like it's okay to like drop a couple activities now and then, just so like you can prioritize the ones that you really want. And another way to like create more time for yourself is to like utilize a bunch of online resources and online classes as well. So for example, like this year, like econ is a grad requirement for Doherty, and instead of taking it at school, I took it online at BYU. So that just freed up an extra period, so I didn't have to take like like A period in the morning, so that like I had time to take all the classes I wanted, but I also didn't have to wake up early and instead could just do an online class. And also like don't be afraid to utilize community college like DVC. So in junior year, I took physics at DVC instead of at school. And it wasn't really my choice because like my school didn't have any space in AP Physics, but it turned out to be a really good choice because DVC classes are only a semester long, but they count for like AP credit. And so second semester junior year wasn't as stressful as it could have been because I didn't have to take the science class since I already took it first semester. So I think like knowing that you have other opportunities instead of just classes in high school is a really big help. And on that, like, it's also important to have like sort of a general timeline of when you want to do things. For example, like if when you want to take your subject tests, you should take them pretty much like right after you finish the class that's related to that subject. So for example, I took the bio subject test right after I finished AP Bio, and that's really helpful because like usually at the end you just studied everything for finals or for the AP test, so everything is fresh in your mind. And so like just like planning these things in advance is really helpful. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Richard. I'm also from Doherty Valley High School. Yeah, and I applied for a Duke ED and got in. Yeah, so everyone else has like been talking about like different topics. So I think I'm gonna cover like something that hasn't been talked about yet, which is like how to choose your major and then like your essays and like letters of rec. So like other parts of the college app basically. Yeah, so like the reason I chose Duke for my ED was because like of the major that I was like that I wanted to major in, which was like biomedical engineering, and Duke is like one of the top 3 schools in that area. So like in terms of choosing a major or like an intended major, like you don't really have to have like a clear idea of like what it's going to be. Like I like for a long time I wanted to do like bio or math, but like after I had like some experience doing like bio research at like a research program, like I kind of like got this like sense that, oh, this is like not really something I want to do like going forward. Yeah, that's like another thing like I mentioned earlier, like you can decide what you want to do like over the summer, and then that can help you determine like if you want to continue doing it in college. Yeah, so like the other thing I want to talk about was another thing I want to talk about is like essays, because like that's a huge part of the college apps, obviously. So like the big essay that you want to like make sure you absolutely like nail is like the Common App, because pretty much like every like out of state like public I think mostly private schools, like they're gonna use like the Common App essay in your college app, and this is like one like super long like 650 word essay where you, like you can choose from like a list of different topics, and basically like the reason you want this one to be like your best essay essentially is because pretty much every college you're applying to like that are not UCs are gonna like be looking at this essay. And like personally for me, like my biggest advice for this essay is to don't procrastinate. Like you want to start as early as possible, like ideally over the summer of your junior year, because you're gonna have like some time over the summer to start thinking about like brainstorming topics for your essay. And like personally for me, like I didn't have like too much time over that summer because I was at like a research program, and like I was in the lab where like just hanging out with friends like most of the time. So I kind of just like procrastinated until after the program to start the essay. But yeah, basically like that's the first essay you want to focus on. And then besides that, like I know like a bunch of people are gonna like be applying to UC as well, because it's like in state. And UC essays are definitely like your second most important essay in my opinion. So like you definitely want to focus on these ones like after the Common App. Yeah, so UC is like there's 4 total essays, and each one is like you choose like a different prompt for each one. And these are like generally shorter essays, like I think it's like 250 words each, but or like 300 words. I'm not actually sure, but like basically, yeah. So like these essays are all different topics. So make sure you have like you like think about which topics you want to choose, because like you don't have like there's like 8 total options, and you have to choose 4 of them basically. So choose like the 4 that you're most like comfortable with writing about. Yeah, and then just go from there. So the last thing I kind of want to briefly touch on is like layers of rec. So layers of rec, again, like don't procrastinate, like earlier is better. So like I asked like my physics teacher actually like before junior year ended, but then he ended up like moving away. So I had to like find new teachers to ask. So basically you want to do these like the first few weeks of senior year, basically. Like you just want to like immediately go to them and then ask them for like a letter of rec for your college apps. And like usually if they know you well, like they'll definitely agree to do it. Like they're super happy to help you guys. Yeah, and then like basically you want to ask as early as possible, because many of them will have like a limit, and then once they reach that limit, they're not going to accept like any more students basically. Yeah, so like I guess like the general theme of like my talk is basically like don't procrastinate on college apps. Like you just like start over like the summer of your junior year, and then that way like you won't be like super busy senior year, because you're still going to have like other classes and other activities that you want to focus on. Yeah, so thanks for listening, guys.
Hi, my name is Justin Tsai, and I am a person who just graduated from Dublin High. Huh? You need something, Emily? You good? Okay, bye, Emily. Sorry, that's my sister. And so I'll be attending the University of Rochester in the fall as a biochemistry major. And the one thing that I really wanted to just talk about is doing something that you are genuinely interested in, because I feel like the problem nowadays is a lot of people choose things that they think will look good on their college applications, but then like when it comes time to write about them, they just have these like really generic things to say about it. And like you can kind of tell when you're reading an essay if someone's actually really passionate about something, or if they just kind of are wishy-washy about it and they're just doing it just because they think it'll make themselves look good. So I think my advice would just be to find something that you genuinely like and focus on that thing in your essay, because I feel like if you're actually interested in something and you have a passion about it, not only will you care about it more, but your passion will be conveyed to other people, so they'll be able to pick up better on how much you care about it, and your essay will seem a lot more genuine. And another thing would just be to not stress too much about the whole college process, even though like the whole thing seems kind of daunting. Like once it's all over in retrospect, it's actually not that bad. Like it's stressful, but if you guys can just kind of keep a level head about it and just consider every option, it's actually not that bad of a process. Also, if you start early, like I started my apps in the summer. So by the time I started the school year, I was basically done with most of my essays. So I had a lot less stress than other people in my class who procrastinated and were like starting their essays before the deadline was due. So one thing I would say is definitely try to get a head start on them and have like multiple people look over your essays to make sure they're well written, because the one thing that you might think like your essay is really good, but like the way you want to convey things may not be as good as it seemed when you initially wrote it. And that's really all I have to say, because I feel like everyone else did a really good job of summarizing a lot of the other topics. So thank you for listening.
Okay, now this is the part of the seminar where you all can talk and ask questions to all of our wonderful seniors.
Okay, so we're gonna start with the questions that were already asked in the Google form, but I guess if you have more, you can just put them into the YouTube live chat. So the first one was, when you look back, what are you most proud of and what do you regret the most?
This is more specific. but one thing that I'm proud of is one thing that I guess I'm proud of is that I managed to keep my emotional health and mental health in check, because the college process ultimately is just like few months of your senior year, a few months of your summer, and ultimately keeping that in perspective, I think I did a really good job on that. I'm proud of myself for just trying to enjoy high school as much as possible. The one thing that I would regret would probably be sometimes I spent a little bit too much time studying, and I made lots of friends and made lots of connections throughout high schools, but I guess sometimes I spent too much time studying. It's like there's a saying that if you spend like 90% of your effort on something, you'll get like say 90 points for something. But if you spend 100% of your effort, maybe you only get like 91 or 92 points. So it's like diminishing returns on how much time you're studying. And besides that, I guess time management is very similar. So I wish in high school I could have managed my time a little bit better and watched myself and make sure I don't study too much compared to everything else.
Okay, the next question is, what advice would you give for younger students to avoid mistakes you made?
I guess one piece of advice I would give is to just like talk to older students, especially like regarding like what classes to take or what teachers are better, and like just like they are like so many resources for you. Like they have gone through the same process, and you can just ask them like any questions. And so like just asking them like, oh, what did they regret, or like if they should take that class or not, and so that could really help you.
Someone asked, what is the importance of GPA for ninth grade for the universities beside UCs?
To be honest, ninth grade was kind of the I don't really care about college quite yet year. I didn't start seriously thinking about college until a few years down. So I got, I'm trying to think, I took 7 classes per semester, including a period, and I got, I think, 1 B or 2 Bs freshman year on honors global studies. So ninth grade definitely isn't as important of a year for GPA specifically. It's in most private universities do like to see upward trends throughout high school. So even if your freshman year GPA is a little bit it can go, if you're taking harder classes and you're getting better grades in them, that's still a positive trend and a sign of growth. Because yeah, not a lot of ninth graders, to be fair, aren't exactly knowing what they're doing quite yet for college. They just, me included, just kind of do their own thing.
Next question. What was your favorite high school experience?
I can just try to answer this. Honestly, my favorite high school experiences were ones that were I really felt had full control over. A lot of the stuff, like I don't know, CSF. I'm going to have to admit it. I basically took it to appease the colleges. Even though I had some fun there, but it wasn't really out of my merit. But something like running the music club, I really felt like I had full control and full interest in that. And even though some people will say it provides less to me, as my parents have said multiple times, I felt a lot more passion and a lot more energy when I was just working on that club. So honestly, just working with that just working in that club and some other activities that I really enjoyed were my favorite high school moments.
Okay, so this next question is concerning time management. So I guess it's like, what strategies did you use to manage your time well, and how did you balance studying compared to other extracurriculars?
Okay, so like personally, I don't feel like I'm the most qualified like person to answer this question because I had like extremely bad procrastination issues in high school. Like, just like even in senior year, like AP Lang, I would literally stay like up to like 1 or 2 a.m. like almost every night to like do the assignments. So basically like the problem with procrastination, right? Like I think Gloria mentioned this earlier, like it causes you to like sleep later and later, and this will cause you to be more tired like during the day. And like basically it leads like a cycle where you can't really escape because like you're super tired during the day, so you're like inefficient, so like you procrastinate. But like basically like if you want to like basically stay on top of things, I would recommend like spending like don't like waste any time like in even in classes. I feel like if you have like free time during classes, like sometimes teachers like are gonna like let you guys do whatever you want. Just like instead of just like fooling around with your friends, maybe like catch up on some homework, and definitely use like access periods. Like we have those in Doherty, I think. Definitely, and I'm not sure about other schools, but like use like all the extra time that you have to like catch up on homework that you would otherwise be doing at home, because then that would like give you more time to like spend on other activities like volunteering or extracurriculars or like anything like that. Yeah.
Someone else asked, how many hours of sleep did you get in junior year?
This is probably subjective to everyone, but for me, I had a lot of things going on junior year and I was like procrastinating a bit. So I would say like 6 to 7, 6 to 6.5, I guess. It depends on the day, really. Like if there's like tests, it really depends. It really like it's probably subjective to everyone too. Some schools have it really tough with like their junior year. My school comparatively had like a relatively easier because my school was not as competitive as some of the other schools, such as like Doherty or Amador. But then and also I didn't really have too many AP classes since we're on like a trimester system and we only can take 5 per year. So subjective to everyone.
And another question is, how can parents motivate their kids to work hard?
Okay. I have a lot to say this one actually. For parents, at the end, I mean, this is from my experience, but at the end, it's gonna be the student who has to be motivated to do something. It doesn't like pushing them helps them to get them to motivated by themselves. But at the end, if they're not motivated by themselves, you can only push them so far until until like it doesn't really do much anymore. So it really has to like yeah, like as a parent, I mean, I'm like a student speaking, but like I think as a parent, if you really want your kid to like be motivated to do something, like to do what you think is like oh yeah, you should like study right now and be motivated. They have to they have to find something themselves that gets them motivated. So for me, time is really valuable. I realized like about like I don't know somewhere in junior year, but like I just realized that you don't have so much time in the world, right? If you're spending it on something that's really not gonna like benefit you in the future. Like I had this quote where I saw was like it sounds really cheesy, but there's this quote I saw where it was like, do something today that your future self will thank you for. And I was really thinking like in the future, like I'm doing this right now, like I'm browsing on like Instagram or whatever, I'm scrolling down, like I'm not gonna remember this within like 2 days. But then if I catch up on my work and stop procrastinating and study for that test, these scores are on my transcript forever. These scores are on my reports forever. They'll affect me like years later. So if the like at the end, it's always going to be the student motivating themselves, and that the parents will just help them get themselves motivated.
Next.
One, oh,
Oh, sorry.
this is following a bit off of Jason's point, as well as going back a bit to the time management question. Something that students and their parents can do is like make checklists. A lot of people, like a lot of my friends, do bullet journaling or use their school given planners to plan. And I always kind of found that a little bit strange because you have to kind of take it out of your backpack, open it, write it down, etc. So I'd use post-it notes, like literally post-it notes, little checkbox with the task next to it, checkbox. And every time you check off a box, I think studies show that you are super motivated by just checking off a box. So anything that you can use to kind of keep track of your schedule, put a post-it on your computer, put a post-it on your calendar, have a calendar, stuff like that, just small things that will help you manage your time and also keep yourself feeling rewarded every time you finish something.
Next question. Did you play games or waste your time? And how did you motivate yourself to stay away from games?
Okay, I'm talking about this one. So growing up, I had a lot of problems with my parents regarding like video games because I'm like I was like a little bit addicted, I would say, throughout high school. Like I would waste a lot of time beginning of junior year, like I'll like play games until like after dinner, like 9 or 10, and then be like, crap, I have homework, you know? So what helped me get rid of it was I didn't technically really get rid of it until senior year. It's just legit, like there's a couple ways of doing it. I tried it multiple ways, and some ways helped, some ways didn't. First time my parents like just take it, like just like take my computer, like delete it, like lock Wi-Fi or do something to get me off of it. And especially during like testing season, like AP testing season, I really just like switched computers with my dad. Like I gave my computer to my dad and his to mine, and then he locked everything on his so that I couldn't really do anything. But then also like if your kid is really having like gaming problems, like I will understand that. So really like talk to them. You have to talk to them about, you know, why this is such a like time wasting thing. This doesn't do anything, right? It's not like you're gonna become pro. Like you're not gonna go professional and make money off of this. This is useless, you know. You're just like, you know, oh, I'm playing games with my like friend or whatever, wasting time. Like have a talk with them about it. Like once you talk logic through them, that like, you know, this is like not useful at all. Like you're not doing anything like benefiting yourself. Then it will really help them like see, you know, this is like wasting time. It's like a leisure activity. You're not gonna like, you know, make tons of money from this. This is not something that'll help your personal growth. This isn't something that's gonna help you with future in life. Maybe you'll get better, but like I mean, who can go professional now these days, right? So yeah, have a talk. Talk about like, you know, benefits versus cons. Talk about how this like, you know, it's like a leisure activity. It's not something that should take up most of your time. And once they understand that, it'll be a lot easier for them to quit.
Someone asked, how do you find something that you're passionate about?
Hello. Do you want to talk, Gloria?
Oh, you can go. It's fine.
All right. Or you can come after. Anyway, since I talked a bit about finding the passion, well, so my process for finding what I was passionate about, honestly, it just came from the start. I mean, I just had something general and narrowed it down. Because before, well, nowadays I toe the line of creativity. In my childhood, I toe the line of imagination. People call my stuff imaginative and vivid and all this type of stuff. This is mostly for just art and drawing. And so we realized that I may have some knack for creativity and imagination and having ideas. And how we do that is still up to be decided. So we just tried stuff that was related to creativity or open-mindedness, like problem solving and also just general arts. Now, while we figured out that my visual arts skills weren't so great, I did find some stuff in creative writing and music, and that's what we rolled this with in the arts scene. As for math, I realized that my problem solving skills were yielding good results, so we just decided to roll with that, and that's how I was able to narrow down my interest from a really general trait of mine, which is like having an open and imaginative mind, to something specific that can be applied, like activities.
Yeah, and just to add on, like everyone's different, and like you don't need to find like the one thing you're passionate about in high school, because like obviously like it's like subject to change, and a lot of people go to college undecided or they end up switching their major. So like it doesn't have to be like the thing that you know you're gonna like find a career in, but it's like you can find like something that interests you even slightly. For example, like I don't know, maybe you're interested in journalism, and then you can try and find something similar like speech and debate, or like writing for online magazine or something like that. And it's just like even if you're not like completely passionate, like it's like your future is very open, so like maybe you can focus on one thing in high school and then later on just completely switch. So like even if you don't find the one thing that you love in high school, like you can still do things that interest you, or do things that like maybe like do things that even just slightly interest you, and then later on you can kind of like narrow it down.
Yeah, it's just like adding on. I think like we mentioned this earlier, but summers are definitely like the best time to like find out what you're interested or not interested in. Yeah, so like me personally, like I went to like a summer research program, and like I went into it like pretty much like 99% sure that I was gonna like be doing something like bio in college. So like that's why I like did like a bio research one. But then like as I was like in the lab and stuff, like we ended up like getting like some like pretty bad results, and like our like experiment was like semi-sabotaged by like some unknown like people in the building as well. So like basically like it was just like kind of frustrating to me, like even though I wasn't like the actual like professors and people involved who are actually gonna like be like directly affected by the bad results of the research. Like I was just thinking that like, do I really want to like do this as like a career, just like being in a lab and like not necessarily like spending a lot of time and not necessarily getting the best results. Like basically like this whole experience just kind of like shifted my like preference away from just like pure biology. So like that's why like that's what kind of like led me towards the direction of like biomedical engineering, because like it has like that aspect of like not just like going in pure bio, but like also using like math and like physics skills, and like yeah, basically just like it helped me like redirect my like my major interest basically over the summer. Yeah.
Okay, so this next question is regarding college applications, and how did you cope with the stress during this process?
So I think it's important to have like some like fun activity that you do just to de-stress. Like for example, like you could go out with your friends, or you could like go like exercise if you like that, or like go play games, and like maybe not in like too much amount, but like just something like you can do like every day for like 30 minutes or an hour just to de-stress, or like just to like motivate yourself and like have fun for a while. Because otherwise if you just are continuously studying or continuously like worrying about college apps, then you get too stressed and you can't really get much done. And like I know Jason was talking about like video games earlier, and like of course like doing it like for hours every day is not good, but like doing it like a couple times per week or like in moderation is actually like pretty helpful, because it lets you de-stress and it lets you like have fun, and so that's like more motivating than just like studying all the time. And also just like talking to your friends, like know that everyone else is going through the same thing and they're also as stressed as you are, and so if you talk it out together you can kind of like know that it's not like the end of the world and that you all get through this.
Someone asked, is it better to present a wide range of extracurriculars or focus on one theme throughout?
This is a good question. For me, I would say I did like a sort of wide range. Because for me, I did athletics and fencing. I did music in terms of play and my own organization. And then I also did a lot of STEM, as in specifically biology. So what I think from my personal experience, I think having a wide range of extracurriculars is good. It's like a good thing. But then you have to have something in the academics that like you are going to be majoring in or that you will be focusing on. So for me, like, fencing was like my main extracurricular. And then I did volunteering and music. So that was also like a side. But in terms of academics, I specifically only focused on biology related fields. So like biotech or like biomed. So I think having a wide range is good. Like that, it shows that you're a well-rounded person, and a lot of private colleges like that you're like a well-rounded person, and like you do all kinds of things, that you're not just like a nerd studying. But I also think if you have too many academic fields that you're interested in, that you're focusing on, then it'll make you seem like that you're unfocused on anything, that you're like you don't know what you want to do at all. Yeah.
With me, choosing anthropology and econ is relatively easy to figure out. I'd say it's also a bit more nebulous, so you can get away with, for example, just like organizational extracurriculars, leading clubs, etc. Those all involve like, especially if you're like treasurer of a club or some sort of managing, you know the general skills that you need to go into econ and the job careers that stem after that. With anthropology, it's a little bit different because what are you gonna do with like extracurriculars? You're not gonna like do an archaeological dig in high school unless that's what you're really set on. So I try to focus on the other fields of anthropology. There's linguistic anthropology, biological, cultural. I try to focus on the linguistic and cultural aspects. So throughout high school, I developed a really close relationship with my French teacher. I talked to her a bunch. I did some French contest awards, and I was in the French Honor Society. And then with other parts like legal anthropology, like in senior year, I joined the Amador Valley Comp Civics team. And although it was a little bit too late in the process to like put it as like a intense extracurricular, because it only got like intense around the time of regular decision and after college applications were over. But I tried to get a rec letter from another teacher besides my French teacher who could speak to the team's like historical focus, legal focus, all these things that I thought I really wanted to shine onto my application, the whole cultural, legal, linguistic sides of anthropology. So overall in high school, I think choosing a broader / more flexible and forgiving major can also kind of help tie your existing or extracurriculars together, and then what you present on the application is how, and depending on how well you present yourself is what's going to help your chances in admissions.
How do you decide which colleges to apply to?
I can answer this. For me, it took me a while actually, because so first of all, you have to figure out, what are your must-haves for a college. So for example, if you think they must have like really good academics, or if they must have Greek life, or if they must be in a big city, or they must be in like, like a more suburban city, or, they must have whatever. But you have to figure out, first of all, what's a must-have for this college. And then out of that, you can just strictly like take a Google search for like a college listed or whatever. Call, like for example, if I wanted to do public health, I'll just search, top 20 colleges for public health, and I'll put all those down on my list. And after that, I'll start narrowing, and then it'll be like top colleges in like a big city, and I'll put all those down on the list. And after you have a big list, you start narrowing down things. You start narrowing down like, oh yeah, this one has whatever, I don't want it. Or like if this one has like no financial aid, I don't want it. So figuring out colleges should be like you should take good time to pick out what colleges you want to apply to. And it should not just be, they're like this one's like ranked 20, this one's ranked 21. I don't want a 21. It should be like, it should be somewhere that you see yourself going to for 4 years. Like you will be staying at that place for 4 years. And if you want to transfer, it's going to be like very like a difficult problem. So yeah, I'll let Richard talk.
Yeah, I'd like to like just add like a little thing. Basically don't apply to any schools that like you're not gonna like actually want to attend, right? Like basically don't apply. I know some people who apply to like this is crazy, but like I know someone who applied to like 40 different schools, and like he was just like, oh, I want like a lot of safeties. I'm like, yeah, okay, but first of all, like you don't need that many safeties, and then like second of all, like a lot of these safeties, even if you get into it, like you're definitely not gonna go because like for like different reasons, right? So basically make sure that like any school that you apply to, you have a good reason for like for going there if you get in. Like whether it be like academics or athletics or like any reason basically. Just like make sure like you're okay with going to any of the schools you apply to. Yeah, and don't just like apply to like a school just for the name or like just for I don't know, like because you think you'll get in, like definitely. So like basically that's just something to consider.
Really quickly, just another thing is like I think college tours are a really good resource, but I know that like colleges are closed now and they're not open. So another way to figure out like what the actual environment of the school is like talking to students who used to go to your school and now go to that college, and you can just ask like any question like what's daily life like, or like are the classes really hard, or like what's the environment or social life like. So it's really important to have like perspective of actual students going to those schools, because online like there might be like some kind of stereotype that's not true, or just like there's like a lot of misconceptions on the internet. So it's important to like talk to students that go there and just see if that's something like see if like you would want to go there as well.
Okay, adding on to the question, how many colleges did you apply to?
I mean, everyone could probably answer this, but a lot of us actually applied ED. So for me, I applied ED to Johns Hopkins, and I got in. So before that, I had planned, if you counting UCs as one, all the UC schools as one, because it's one application. I was going to apply to 17 schools.
For me, I applied ED for Northwestern. Since EA or early action is not exclusive from ED. I also applied to EA Caltech, which I didn't get in obviously, and then I also applied for I think about 6 out of the 8 now UCs, and a couple other schools I would have applied to in total 16 individual universities.
Yeah, I would say like around like anywhere between like 10 to 20 is like a good number. Like obviously have a balance of like reaches, targets, and safeties. And like personally, I had about like I think like about 5 like 5, 5, and 5, like 5 targets, 5 safeties, and 5 reaches. I think it's like a good balance. Basically, you basically want to make sure that you'll definitely get into somewhere.
I also got into I got to Northwestern early decision, but I applied to, besides Northwestern, I applied to one school early action, and I would have had, I believe, 11 private universities I would have applied to, and I applied to 6 out of the 8 UCs.
So the next question is like, in your opinion, what are the most important criteria for admissions?
In my opinion, I have to say essays. No one knows how they're weighted, to be honest. Like, of course, ECs, GPA, test scores, and essays are all important, but I think essays are the one piece of the application that is you speaking from your own voice. Yes, teacher recommendations, you get the admissions officers will see like, oh, this is a good student. They help out in the class, but your essays are what set you apart. Your essays are one of the only ways to be like to show off your voice, show off your writing voice. And again, as I said earlier, I suggest you can take a risk with essays. Like on my Why Northwestern, I put a bunch of puns in there. I talked about the unique story I had at Northwestern. Again, the puns. Just tried. I think essays, because they're so unique to each person, they are definitely the most important part. And you should spend a lot of time trying to draft ideas, and don't spend too much time revising because you want it to sound